The system is starting. You have been chosen to hear this. It is not by accident. In a world filled with noise, where everyone is quick to speak, quick to judge, you are being invited into a space of sacred silence, or a place where there is no opinion, no pressure, no expectations. It is just you and the voice that truly needs to be heard. Today, I have not come to add noise to your life. I have come to remind you, it is in silence that your soul is healed, and your mission begins.
Are you wise or foolish? Have you ever found yourself wondering what truly defines wisdom? It's not about intelligence, formal education, or the number of books you've read. True wisdom is reflected in how you live, how you think, and how you treat others. According to Billy Graham's teachings, foolishness isn't just a lack of knowledge, it's a failure to align your life with faith, integrity, and purpose. Today we're diving into a topic that might make you pause for self-reflection: 6 key signs of a misguided woman. Before you jump to conclusions, let me clarify, this isn't about judging or labeling. Billy Graham's philosophy wasn't about condemning others, but rather encouraging personal growth, faith, and self-examination. When we discuss these 6 signs, we're not simply identifying flaws in others, we're holding up a mirror to reflect on our own actions, thoughts, and lives. After all, wisdom is a lifelong journey, not a final destination. No one is perfect, not you, not me. The goal here isn't perfection, but progress. Why look to Billy Graham's teachings? His message was one of hope, discipline, and unwavering faith. He spoke about mastering one's mindset, focusing on what truly matters, and living a life anchored in spiritual principles. Graham dedicated his life to guiding people through the challenges of the world with faith, strength, and moral clarity. His teachings remain just as relevant today as they were decades ago. So, how does his wisdom help us recognize foolishness? More importantly, how can we apply these insights to our daily lives? If you're curious, keep reading. We're about to explore 6 signs of misguided thinking. Not to judge, but to learn, grow, and even find some humor along the way. Let's begin with the first sign, and trust me, this is one you'll want to hear. The first sign is prioritizing appearance over character. Imagine meeting someone who always appears flawless, perfectly styled, immaculately dressed, with an Instagram feed that looks like a curated gallery. At first glance, they exude confidence and success, but upon closer examination, you realize there's little depth beneath the surface. Their energy is entirely focused on outward appearances rather than personal growth. According to Billy Graham, this obsession with appearance is misguided. Why? Because true value lies not in looks, but in character, faith, and kindness. Billy Graham often emphasized that it's our inner qualities that define us, not our external appearance. The Bible reminds us that beauty fades, but wisdom, integrity, and kindness endure. There's nothing wrong with taking pride in your appearance. Self-respect and confidence are important. However, when physical beauty becomes the foundation of self-worth, it leads to insecurity. What happens when beauty fades? What happens when someone else is deemed more attractive? If your identity is rooted in something so fleeting, you will always be chasing validation. Instead, shift your focus to inner beauty. Reflect on your values. Are you living with integrity? Are you treating others with kindness? Are you growing into the person God intended you to be? True beauty is found in the heart and soul, not in a mirror or a social media post. The second sign is ignoring self-responsibility. This one might be uncomfortable to confront because, let's be honest, taking responsibility isn't always easy. However, according to Billy Graham, personal accountability is essential for a meaningful life. Have you ever met someone who always has an excuse for everything that goes wrong? Their problems are never their fault. It's always their job, their parents, their partner, or just bad luck. While life can certainly be unfair, dwelling on external circumstances is a sign of misplaced focus. Billy Graham often spoke about personal accountability as a cornerstone of faith. He taught that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond. Blaming others doesn't just make you look immature, it also keeps you stuck. When you refuse to take responsibility, you give away your power to change, grow, and improve. Consider your career, for example. Maybe your boss is difficult, the job market is tough, or opportunities seem scarce. But what can you control? Are you improving your skills? Are you showing up with a positive attitude? Or are you spending all your time complaining, waiting for someone else to fix your problems? Billy Graham would remind us that progress starts with accountability. The moment you take responsibility for your life, even the difficult parts, you reclaim your power. Blaming others might feel satisfying in the moment, but in the long run, it's a trap. It prevents you from stepping into your full potential. Graham often quoted the Bible's wisdom on perseverance and courage, urging people to face challenges head-on rather than avoiding them. You are capable of more than you realize, but only if you're willing to own your actions and decisions. So, how can you apply this wisdom to your own life? Start by asking yourself, am I taking full responsibility for my choices? Am I actively working to become a better person, or am I making excuses? Growth begins the moment you stop shifting blame and start embracing personal accountability. These are just 2 of the 6 signs we'll be exploring. Each one offers a chance for reflection, growth, and transformation. The goal isn't to point fingers or dwell on past mistakes. Instead, it's about recognizing areas where we can improve and taking steps to live with greater wisdom, faith, and purpose. Remember, true wisdom isn't about never making mistakes. It's about learning from them. By aligning our lives with faith and integrity, we can move forward with confidence, knowing we are on the path to true wisdom. Ask yourself some tough questions. Am I blaming others for my problems? What can I do differently to improve my situation? Am I willing to take ownership of my actions, even when it's uncomfortable? The Stoics believe that responsibility isn't just about fixing what's wrong. It's about empowering yourself to create a better future. So, the next time you're tempted to point fingers or make excuses, stop and remind yourself, this is my life. How I respond is up to me. Taking responsibility may not always be easy, but it's one of the most powerful steps you can take toward wisdom and growth. Sign 3, overvaluing others' opinions. Let's move on to the 3rd sign of foolishness according to Stoic wisdom, overvaluing others' opinions. This one hits hard in today's world, doesn't it? Social media has made it incredibly easy to fall into the trap of caring too much about what others think. How many likes did your post get? Who's watching your stories? What will people say about your choices? These questions creep into our minds, sometimes without us even realizing it. But here's the truth. Living for the approval of others is one of the fastest ways to lose yourself. The Stoics were firm about this. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and a Stoic giant, said it best. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. Think about that for a second. You love yourself more than anyone else, right? You're with yourself 24/7 through every success and every failure, yet somehow the opinions of people who don't live your life, who might not even know you well, carry so much weight. Why is that? The Stoics believe that constantly seeking validation from others is a sign of foolishness because it pulls you away from your own path. When you live for other people's opinions, you hand over control of your happiness, your decisions, and your self-worth. Instead of asking, what do I want? What aligns with my values? You start asking, what will they think? What will make me look good? And the problem with that mindset, it's impossible to please everyone. No matter what you do, someone will always criticize you. The Stoics taught that wisdom comes from living in alignment with your own values, not someone else's expectations. They encouraged us to focus on what we can control. And guess what? You can't control what other people think of you. You can only control how you think about yourself. Epictetus put it simply, if you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity. If you need a witness, be your own. Does this mean you should ignore everyone's opinions entirely? Not at all. The Stoics would advise listening to feedback with an open mind, but not letting it define you. There's a big difference between constructive feedback that helps you grow and toxic validation that keeps you trapped. Here's a practical takeaway. The next time you find yourself worrying about what others think, pause and ask yourself, why do their opinions matter to me? Am I living in alignment with my values? If no one else were watching, would I still make the same decision? By shifting your focus from external validation to internal integrity, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of people-pleasing. Remember, wisdom isn't about being liked by everyone. It's about staying true to who you are. The Stoics would remind you that your worth isn't up for debate. It's something you define for yourself. Sign 4, emotional instability and overreaction. Now, let's move on to the fourth sign of foolishness, and this one is a big one, emotional instability and overreaction. Imagine this. You're having a conversation with someone, and suddenly a small disagreement turns into a full-blown argument. Voices are raised, tempers flare, and before you know it, things spiral completely out of control. Or maybe you've seen someone let a minor inconvenience, like being stuck in traffic, ruin their entire day. Sound familiar? According to Stoic wisdom, allowing your emotions to control you is a sign of foolishness. The Stoics believed emotions are natural, but overreacting to them or letting them dictate your actions is a failure to live rationally. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it this way: a man is as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is. In other words, much of our suffering doesn't come from the situation itself, but from how we choose to react to it. Now, don't get me wrong, Stoicism isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. The Stoics understood that emotions are a natural part of being human. But they also believed that wisdom lies in how you respond to those emotions. Instead of reacting impulsively, they taught us to pause, reflect, and choose a response that aligns with reason and virtue. Why does emotional instability matter so much? Because it clouds your judgment. When you let anger, fear, or frustration take over, you're more likely to make decisions you regret, saying things you don't mean, hurting people you care about, or escalating situations unnecessarily. Worse, emotional overreaction creates a ripple effect, damaging your relationships and reputation. Epictetus put it beautifully. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is one of the core teachings of Stoicism. You can't control everything that happens in life, but you can control your response. And when you master your response, you master your life. So how can you practice emotional stability? Here are a few Stoic-inspired strategies. Pause before reacting. When emotions start bubbling up, take a deep breath. Give yourself a moment to process before responding. Reframe the situation. Ask yourself, is this really worth getting upset over? Most of the time, the answer is no. Focus on what you can control. If the situation is out of your hands, don't waste energy on it. Shift your focus to what you can influence: your mindset, actions, and perspective. Let's be honest. We all lose our cool sometimes. It's human. But the key is to catch yourself, reflect, and try to do better next time. Remember, calmness is a superpower. When you stay grounded in the face of chaos, you not only protect your peace, but also inspire others to do the same. So the next time you're tempted to overreact, think of the Stoics. Ask yourself, am I letting my emotions control me, or am I in control of my emotions? Because wisdom isn't about never feeling, It's about choosing how to act, even when emotions run high. Sign 5, materialism and greed. Now, let's move on to the 5th sign of foolishness, materialism and greed. Picture someone obsessed with acquiring more money, more possessions, more status symbols. They measure success not by the quality of their character or the happiness in their life, but by the number of zeros in their bank account or the designer labels in their closet. Sound familiar? The Stoics had a lot to say about this, and spoiler alert, it's not flattering. They believed that an obsession with material wealth is a clear sign of foolishness. Why? Because material things are temporary, external, and ultimately beyond our control. Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." In other words, the more you chase material things, the more enslaved you become to them. You'll always want more, never be satisfied, and constantly look for the next thing to fill that emptiness inside. Think about it. How many people seem to have it all on the surface? Money, cars, a big house, yet they're completely miserable. That's because materialism is a trap. It distracts you from what truly matters: your relationships, your purpose, and your inner peace. The Stoics taught that true wealth isn't about what you own. It's about being content with what you already have. Possessions aren't the only concern. It's also about the constant need for external validation. Maybe you're not fixated on owning luxury goods, but you find yourself chasing status or recognition. You think, if I just get that promotion, earn that degree, or buy that one thing, then I'll finally feel fulfilled. The Stoics, however, would warn that this mindset leads nowhere. True fulfillment comes from within, not from anything external. So how do you break free from materialism and greed? The Stoics practice something called voluntary discomfort, intentionally foregoing luxuries and at times even basic comforts like food, warmth, or shelter. This reminded them that they didn't need excess to survive or thrive. It was a way to cultivate gratitude and focus on what truly matters. While you don't have to take such extreme measures, you can adopt a similar perspective. Ask yourself, what am I grateful for right now? Do I genuinely need this, or am I trying to fill an emotional void? Am I living in alignment with my values, or am I chasing things that won't bring lasting happiness? The Stoics believed that simplicity is freedom. When you stop tying your happiness to material possessions, you free yourself from the endless cycle of desire, pursuit, and dissatisfaction. The best part? You begin to focus on what truly matters: your personal growth, your relationships, and the legacy you leave behind. Sign 6, avoiding self-reflection and growth. Finally, let's discuss what might be the most crucial sign of all: avoiding self-reflection and personal growth. Let's be honest, this one is difficult to admit. No one enjoys confronting their own flaws. It's far easier to blame others, distract ourselves with entertainment, or pretend that everything is fine. But according to the Stoics, avoiding self-reflection is one of the greatest barriers to wisdom. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, practiced a powerful nightly routine, reflecting on his actions, thoughts, and decisions from the day. He would ask himself, what did I do well? What could I have done better? Where did I fall short of my values? This daily self-examination wasn't about self-criticism, it was about growth. The Stoics believed that wisdom comes from constantly evaluating yourself, learning from mistakes, and striving to be better. When you neglect self-reflection, you remain stagnant, repeating the same mistakes and patterns while wondering why nothing changes. It's like being stuck in quicksand. You may be moving, but you're not going anywhere. Over time, this lack of growth breeds frustration, resentment, and regret. The Stoics argue that self-reflection is the foundation of a virtuous life. It helps you align your actions with your values, recognize when you've strayed, and correct your course. Most importantly, it allows you to become the best version of yourself, not for others, but for your own fulfillment. So how can you cultivate self-reflection? Here are a few Stoic-inspired practices. Journaling, Spend a few minutes each day writing about your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Ask yourself, what went well today? What could I improve? Mindful check-ins. Pause throughout the day to assess whether your actions align with your values. Seeking feedback. Sometimes we can't recognize our own blind spots. Ask trusted friends or mentors for honest feedback and receive it with an open mind. Remember, self-reflection isn't about striving for perfection, it's about progress. The Stoics understood that growth is a lifelong journey, and true transformation begins when you're willing to look inward, even when it's uncomfortable. So there you have it, the 6 signs of a foolish mindset, according to Stoic wisdom. Prioritizing appearance over character, neglecting personal responsibility over valuing others' opinions, emotional instability, materialism and greed, and avoiding self-reflection and growth. But here's the key takeaway. This isn't about labeling or judging others. It's about recognizing where we all have room to grow. The Stoics believed that wisdom is a lifelong pursuit, not a fixed destination. The good news? We all have the ability to cultivate it. It begins with self-awareness, acknowledging our shortcomings without self-condemnation. Then it takes courage to challenge old habits, let go of what no longer serves us, and embrace a life guided by virtue, reason, and purpose. Now let me leave you with this question. Which of these 6 signs resonates with you the most? Is there an area of your life where applying Stoic wisdom could lead to positive change? Remember, even the smallest step toward growth is still a step in the right direction. And if this video gave you something to reflect on, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need a little Stoic inspiration today. Let's keep the conversation going. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these lessons you're focusing on. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep striving for wisdom, growth, and inner peace. You've got this. They say that evil begins when people start treating others as mere objects. That insight from Billy Graham isn't just about how we treat others, it's also about what we allow into our lives. Every person in our circle, every influence we accept leaves a mark. The real question is, what kind of mark are they leaving? In today's world, the idea of witchcraft may seem outdated or exaggerated. Our minds instantly conjure images of pointy hats and bubbling cauldron. But let me challenge that perception. The most dangerous threats to your soul often come disguised as ordinary. They are subtle, calculated, and sometimes wrapped in the charm of friendship or charisma. This message isn't about spreading fear, but about equipping you with discernment. Chosen ones, there are spiritual forces at work, forces that seek to manipulate, control, and distract you from God's purpose. This battle isn't new, it has raged since Eden. So today we'll uncover 5 signs that someone in your life may be practicing witchcraft, seeking to manipulate and curse you. This isn't about condemnation or paranoia, it's about clarity and freedom. Because when you recognize darkness for what it is, you can stand firmly in the light of truth. Let's uncover these shadows together. Sign number 1, they constantly fish for personal information. One of the most obvious signs that someone may have harmful intentions is their constant need to extract personal details about your life. They are always prying, always digging, always wanting to know everything about you. It might seem innocent at first, but over time you'll notice a pattern. This person isn't just asking out of curiosity, they act entitled to your business. They push for details about your relationships, career, plans, and even your family. They may inquire about your goals, finances, or the inner workings of your home life. When you hesitate to share, they become irritated, saying things like, "Why didn't you tell me? Are you hiding something? Why are you being so secretive?" Their questions aren't about celebrating your victories or supporting your dreams. They are about control. As Billy Graham once said, secrets have a way of revealing themselves even in the most innocent conversations. The more you share, the more power you give to those who might use it against you. Here's the problem. Witches, or those influenced by dark forces, need information to act. Whether it's for rituals, spells, or simply spreading negativity, they thrive on knowing your mood. They use what you share to block your progress, sow doubt, or cause your plans to fail. That's why you may notice patterns. Things fall apart after you've confided in a particular person about your dreams or next steps. Think about it. How often have you shared exciting news only to see it unravel shortly after? Maybe you were planning to start a new business, buy a house, or make a big career move, and as soon as you told someone, it didn't happen. These are mere coincidences. They are red flags. The Bible warns us in Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Guarding your heart means being mindful of what you share and with whom you share it. Not everyone in your circle is cheering for you. Some may be actively working against you, whether intentionally or unknowingly. People who constantly fish for information often overstep boundaries, forcing their way into your life. They may pretend to be close to you, wearing a mask of friendship or concern. They dig into things that should remain private, your plans, family dynamics, and relationships, and use that knowledge against you. The best way to protect yourself, move in silence. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your life. Keep your plans between you and God until the time is right to share. Be mindful of patterns and the energy you feel after talking to someone. If someone always brings chaos, doubt, or negativity after you confide in them, it's a sign to set boundaries. Remember, not everyone who asks questions is a friend. Stay prayed up, use discernment, and let God guide you in choosing who belongs in your inner circle. Sign number 2, they engage in idolatry. Another clear sign that someone may be under the influence of dark forces is their involvement in idolatry. Idolatry isn't just about worshiping statues or ancient gods. It manifests in many forms. It happens whenever someone places anything or anyone in a position that belongs solely to God. The person engaged in idolatry may not even recognize it as a problem. For instance, they may worship a celebrity, a lifestyle, or even themselves. Consider how some fans idolize figures like Beyoncé, calling her mother, treating her as a divine figure, and attacking anyone who criticizes her. She is fully aware of the power and control she holds over her followers. They will go to extreme lengths to defend her, acting as though she can do no wrong. As Billy Graham once warned, whoever fights monsters should take care not to become a monster themselves. The danger of idolatry is that it doesn't just distort what we worship, it changes who we are. When someone worships anything other than God, their character begins to reflect the flaws of their idol instead of the perfection of their Creator. But let's take a step back. This isn't just about celebrities, it's about anything that takes priority over God. Maybe it's a career, a relationship, money, or material possessions. Idolatry blinds people, shifting their focus from the Creator to creation, whether it's another person or their own status. The Bible is clear about this. Exodus 20:03-04 states, "You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above, on the earth beneath, or in the waters below." God forbids idolatry because it leads us away from Him. Now consider how idolatry plays out in your relationships. Does someone in your life seek power or control over others? Do they crave admiration, bask in attention, and use their influence to manipulate? Or do they idolize material things, constantly chasing wealth and status, pressuring you to do the same? These behaviors aren't harmless. Idolatry opens spiritual doors to manipulation and control. When someone is entrenched in idol worship, whether of themselves, their lifestyle, or another person, they invite forces that oppose God's will. Don't let their obsession with power, control, or material things drag you into the same mindset. If someone constantly pressures you to embrace their values or worship what they worship, take a step back and set boundaries. Idolatry may seem harmless at first. It may even appear attractive or justified, but in the end, it's destructive. Stay rooted in your faith and keep your focus on God. When you worship Him alone, you'll find true peace and freedom. Sign number 3, they love manipulation and control. Another undeniable sign that someone may be influenced by dark forces is their obsession with manipulation and control. Witches, or those with harmful intentions, thrive on domination. Their goal is to control people and circumstances to get what they want. For them, power is everything, and they will go to great lengths to maintain it. Think about it. Have you ever encountered someone who seems to have an almost supernatural hold on people? They don't have to be physically present to stir conflict or command loyalty. Some celebrities' fans blindly defend them, even resorting to hostility, while the celebrity remains detached. That's control on a massive scale. But manipulation isn't just found in the celebrity world. It exists in everyday relationships, too. Some women, for instance, resort to love spells or manipulative tactics to trap men in relationships. But a love built on manipulation isn't love. It's control. As Billy Graham once said, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. Manipulators thrive on your hesitation to set boundaries. Why would anyone want a relationship based on coercion instead of genuine love? But manipulators don't care. They only care about power, and they will use guilt, fear, or emotional games to maintain control. While these behaviors may not appear to be witchcraft at first glance, they follow the same patterns of manipulation and control that the enemy uses to deceive. Stay vigilant, stay prayed up, and trust in God's guidance to protect you from those who seek to manipulate your spirit. A manipulator does not respect your boundaries. They see them as obstacles to overcome. They twist words, use flattery, or even play the victim to make you feel obligated to them. The Bible warns us about this in Galatians 5:01. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. God's desire is for us to live in freedom, not under the weight of someone else's control. Sometimes manipulators disguise themselves as caring friends or family members. They might say things like, I'm only trying to help you, or you'll regret it if you don't listen to me. But their so-called help often feels like control, because that's exactly what it is. They want you to doubt yourself, second-guess your decisions, and rely on them for guidance. Manipulation can be subtle or overt, but the result is always the same. It keeps you bound. That's why setting boundaries and praying for discernment is essential. When someone's influence in your life begins to feel oppressive or overwhelming, it's time to reevaluate their role in your journey. God calls us to live in freedom, empowered by His Spirit, not chained by the manipulations of others. Stay grounded in His truth, and remember that no one has the right to control your life but God. Sign number 4, they practice or encourage occult activities. A clear indication that someone in your life might be influenced by dark forces is their involvement in occult practices such as magic, voodoo, divination, fortune-telling, or any form of witchcraft. These practices contradict God's word and open doors to spiritual harm. As Billy Graham once said, shallow men believe in luck or circumstance. Strong men believe in cause and effect. People drawn to the occult often seek shortcuts, power, answers, or control outside of God's design. What they fail to realize is that every action in the spiritual realm has consequences, and engaging in these practices invites forces they cannot control. Some will try to recruit you into their rituals, offering something seemingly insignificant like a crystal for positive energy or a candle for manifestation. They'll claim it's harmless, insisting there's nothing wrong with good magic. But this is exactly how the enemy deceives, by making darkness appear harmless or even attractive. The Bible is very clear about this in Deuteronomy 18:10-12, where God calls these practices an abomination. Consulting mediums, speaking to the dead, and casting spells are all rejections of God's authority and invitations for the enemy to take hold. Sometimes those involved in the occult will give you specific instructions, saying things like, do this ritual at 3 a.m., or repeat this phrase a certain number of times to bring money or love into your life. It may sound like harmless superstition, but in reality, it opens doors to spiritual curses. They may tell you outright, oh, it's not bad magic, or it's just a way to connect with the universe. But listen carefully. If someone encourages you to participate in any kind of magic or spiritual ritual, they are leading you into darkness. Pay attention to how they try to draw you in. They may act like they're helping, but they are setting you up for spiritual harm. Even dreams where a loved one appears can be deceptive. That's not your grandmother, it's a spirit trying to gain access to your life. What can you do? First, stay prayed up and rooted in God's truth. Ephesians 6:11 instructs us to put on the full armor of God so we can stand firm against the enemy. Second, avoid anything that even hints at the occult, no matter how small it may seem. Sign number 5, negative patterns follow their presence. Another indication that someone may be influenced by dark forces is that negative patterns seem to follow them. You share good news, perhaps you're starting a business, buying a house, or making a big life change, and suddenly everything falls apart. At first, it may seem like bad luck, but when it happens consistently after sharing with this person, it's worth a closer look. As Billy Graham once said, people may hear your words, but they feel your attitude. Some people carry an attitude of jealousy, envy, or bitterness, even if they never say it aloud. That energy can affect your life, especially if you open up too much to them. There are people who pretend to be happy for you, but deep down, they don't want to see you succeed. They might be a friend, a family member, or a coworker. When you share your plans, they respond with fake enthusiasm or subtle negativity. Then, things suddenly start going wrong. Plans fall through. Obstacles appear. Or you find yourself starting over again and again. Why does this happen? People under dark influences often carry a spirit of envy or sabotage. They may not intentionally work against you, but their negative energy can manifest as blockages in your life. This is why moving in silence is so important. Not everyone needs to know your plans. Pay attention to how people react when you share good news. Do their expressions change? Does their mood shift? Do they suddenly ask for every detail? These are subtle signs that their intentions may not be pure. It is often those closest to you who carry this energy. Jealousy isn't always obvious, but it is powerful. Some people cannot stand to see you doing better than them, and whether intentional or not, they project negativity onto your life. But here's the truth. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54, verse 17. If you've noticed these negative patterns, don't panic. Stay prayed up, ask God for wisdom, and trust Him to protect you. Through prayer and faith, you have the authority to break any spiritual attack. As we conclude today's message, remember that spiritual battles are real, but so is the victory we have in Christ. The 5 signs we discuss, those who fish for personal information, engage in idolatry, manipulate and control, practice occult activities, or bring negative patterns, are not just behaviors to avoid, they are warnings to protect your heart and guard your life. Discernment is your defense, and prayer is your greatest weapon. Stay vigilant. Stay prayed up, and remember that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. God has equipped you with His armor and His Spirit to stand firm in any challenge. Let's end in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for the wisdom and protection you provide. Help us to discern the influences around us and to stay rooted in your truth. Guard our hearts, guide our paths, and break every plan of the enemy. Let us walk in the freedom and victory that only you can give. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for watching. If this message blessed you, share it with someone who needs encouragement. Stay safe, stay in prayer, and may God bless you abundantly. Billy Graham once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In a world that constantly seeks to dictate how we should feel, think, and act, Imagine possessing the power to find inner peace and joy regardless of the chaos swirling around you. That isn't just powerful, it's transformative. It's about taking control, not of the external world, but of something far more significant and within your reach, your own mind. Billy Graham's teachings emphasize resilience, gratitude, and living a life filled with purpose and faith. But this isn't just about history, it's about you, your life today, and how to face the challenges of our modern world without losing your peace. It's about finding stillness in the storm, joy in the simplest moments, and transforming your mornings from something you dread into a foundation for a day filled with meaning. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the noise of life, struggled to find peace, or wondered how faith can be your anchor in today's fast-pacing world, stay with us. This might just be the message that changes everything for you. Let's dive into the biblical principles that can help us craft not just a morning routine, but a life filled with intention, resilience, and lasting happiness. I encourage you to watch this video with your full attention. If you're here, you're different from the rest, someone who seeks wisdom and depth. Your commitment to absorbing these lessons fully sets you apart even further. A concept that beautifully aligns with faith is one that originates from Japan, Ikigai. It is the idea of discovering the intersection between your passion, skills, the world's needs, and what you can offer. Imagine waking up each morning with a clear, God-given purpose, something that excites you and makes hitting the snooze button irrelevant. Billy Graham didn't just preach about enduring life's hardships. He urged people to see each day as an opportunity to fulfill God's calling with integrity and passion. When you align your daily actions with your God-given purpose, even the simplest tasks take on profound meaning. Your relationships flourish, your creativity soars, and happiness becomes a constant companion rather than a fleeting visitor. But how do you uncover your purpose? It starts with reflection. Ask yourself, what has God placed on my heart? What am I naturally good at? How can I serve others in a meaningful way? If the answers don't come immediately, that's okay. This is a journey, one of prayer, discovery, and faith. This pursuit isn't just about personal fulfillment. It's about recognizing your role in God's grand design and embracing it fully. When you live with this alignment, even life's difficulties become opportunities for spiritual growth rather than setbacks. The key to a powerful morning starts the night before. It's easy to fall into the habit of staying up late, scrolling through social media or binge watching TV. But how does that prepare you for the day ahead? Your mind needs time to unwind, to process the events of the day, and to recharge for what's to come. This is where a meaningful evening routine makes all the difference. Treating your evenings with the same intention and respect as your mornings isn't about rigid discipline. It's about prioritizing your well-being and aligning with your God-given purpose. For example, limiting screen time before bed isn't about depriving yourself of entertainment. It's about signaling to your mind that it's time to rest, making it easier to wake up refreshed. Planning the next day, even by writing down a few key priorities, helps set a clear direction and ensures you wake up with intention. A moment of prayer or meditation before bed can center your spirit, reduce stress, and prepare you for true rest. When you surrender your worries to God, you sleep in peace, knowing He is in control. In today's world, this might sound like a challenge, but it is vital for setting the tone of your day. Picture this, your morning, untainted by digital distractions, email notifications, or social media noise. Instead, it's just you, your thoughts, and the quiet presence of God. That isn't just refreshing, it's empowering. Billy Graham often emphasized the importance of starting the day with prayer and scripture, setting the foundation for a day rooted in faith rather than the chaos of the world. So, how can we apply this wisdom in our daily lives? It starts with creating a morning space free from digital distractions. This isn't about avoiding technology altogether, but about choosing not to let it dictate the beginning of your day. Instead of reaching for your phone first thing in the morning, begin with gratitude. Dedicate the first moments of your day to God, whether through prayer, scripture, journaling, or simply reflecting on His blessings. These aren't wasted moments. They are an investment in your well-being and spiritual strength. Making the most of your mornings isn't about adding more to your to-do list. It's about removing distractions that don't serve you. Prioritize what truly matters before the demands of the world start pulling at your attention. This is where biblical wisdom shines. We may not control everything in our day, but we can certainly influence how we start it. You might not be able to stop the flood of emails waiting for you, but you can control how and when you choose to engage with them. So tomorrow morning, challenge yourself to start your day on your terms. Resist the urge to dive into the digital world first thing. Instead, anchor yourself in the present moment, savoring the peace and potential that the morning holds. Every day is a new opportunity to live more intentionally, more peacefully, and more in alignment with who God has called you to be. Let's make our mornings a testament to the life we want to live and the faith we hold dear. Guided by the timeless wisdom of Billy Graham and an unwavering focus on what truly matters, the foundation of a purposeful life lies in understanding what we can control and acting with intention and faith. Billy Graham's teachings emphasize not just enduring life's hardships, but actively engaging with life, taking responsibility for our actions, and shaping our mindset through faith. Waking up consistently is one practice that reflects this principle. A declaration that we have control over how we start our day and are not at the mercy of external pressures. Building a life of faith, as Billy Graham encouraged, is done step by step, finding contentment in each moment. A seemingly simple habit, like waking up at the same time each morning, serves as a cornerstone that shapes everything else. It creates a stable foundation, allowing us to start the day with purpose rather than rushing in chaos. However, consistency is challenging by design. The early days of trying to establish a morning routine can feel like a struggle, with the comfort of bed pulling us back and the temptation to hit snooze proving strong. This is where perseverance, deeply rooted in faith, becomes essential. It is about reminding ourselves why we are committed to this habit and recognizing the person we are becoming through this discipline. It is about looking beyond the immediate comfort and focusing on the long-term benefits this practice will bring. Becoming a morning person is not merely about the morning itself. It is about embodying qualities of resilience, focus, and intention that extend into every part of our life. It is an act of self-discipline, aligning our actions with our faith and cultivating a life of purpose, one morning at a time. To make consistency a trusted ally, begin by setting a clear intention the night before. Remind yourself why waking up at a specific time is important. Is it to spend time in prayer, read scripture, exercise, or simply begin the day in a more peaceful and controlled manner? Then, create an environment that supports this habit, perhaps going to bed earlier, setting an alarm across the room, or allowing natural light to wake you. And when it gets difficult, remember the biblical principle of relying on God's strength rather than our own. Each morning that you rise at your chosen time is not just the beginning of another day. It is a reaffirmation of your commitment to personal growth, faith, and purposeful living. While discipline and consistency are crucial, it is equally important to embrace grace and self-compassion. We are human, and that means we are prone to struggles and setbacks. This is why establishing new habits like transforming our mornings can initially feel daunting. But acknowledging this reality is not a flaw, it is an honest acceptance of our nature. Billy Graham often spoke of God's grace as the foundation of transformation. It is not about perfection, but about persistence and faith. When we fall short, we must learn from the experience and move forward rather than dwelling on self-criticism. The early stages of building a habit can be difficult. Some mornings the alarm will go off and every fiber of our being will long to stay in bed. And on some days we may give in. That is okay. What matters most is what we do next. Do we let guilt consume us, or do we extend grace to ourselves and commit to trying again the next morning? True strength is found in resilience, not in never falling, but in always getting back up. Practicing self-compassion does not mean making excuses or giving up on our goals. It means recognizing that growth is a process filled with learning curves and setbacks. Each new day is an opportunity to recalibrate, to embrace new challenges, and to rely on God's guidance. This daily renewal is what strengthens our faith and resilience. As we work towards consistent early mornings or any new discipline, we must celebrate the small victories, learn from our mistakes, and continue forward with determination and grace. Consider something as simple as placing your alarm clock across the room. This small act is more than just a practical trick. It is a statement of intent. It signifies a commitment to rise and start the day on your terms, resisting the comfort of sleep and stepping into the morning with purpose. Similarly, making your bed each morning might seem insignificant, but it reflects care and discipline. It is a quiet declaration that your environment matters and that the order you create in your surroundings mirrors the discipline you are building within. Billy Graham often emphasized the power of small, consistent choices in shaping our character. These seemingly minor decisions, repeated daily, accumulate into something profound. Each time you choose to rise, to prepare your space, and to engage with your day intentionally, you are reinforcing a commitment to discipline, faith, and self-respect. These choices become the building blocks of a life that is grounded, purposeful, and prepared for greater challenges ahead. Why focus on these small acts? Because they are within our reach. We cannot always control life's major events, the unexpected turns, the challenges, or the uncertainties, but we can control how we start our day, how we treat our immediate surroundings, and how we prepare ourselves for what lies ahead. This is faith in action, focusing on what is within our power and surrendering the rest to God. Moreover, these habits are not just about building discipline for its own sake. They are about cultivating a mindset that is prepared for life's greater tests. When we train ourselves in small acts of discipline, we develop the ability to follow through in larger commitments, remain steady in adversity, and approach life with faith and resilience. These qualities reflect the teachings of Billy Graham. Living with intention, guided by faith, and steadfast in the pursuit of what truly matters. So as you consider discipline in your life, start small. Identify everyday opportunities to practice self-control and order. Remember that it is in the quiet moments of morning, in the decision to rise, to pray, to prepare, that your character is shaped. These habits are not mere tasks, they are rituals, infusing your day with purpose and your life with meaning. One simple yet powerful strategy for maintaining consistency is sharing your goals with someone who supports and holds you accountable. Whether it is a friend, family member, or mentor, having someone to encourage and check in on you can significantly enhance your chances of success. Transformation is not always a solitary journey. We grow stronger when we walk alongside those who uplift and inspire us. Ultimately, a life of discipline and faith is not about rigid rules or harsh expectations. It is about aligning our daily actions with our greater purpose, making small but meaningful choices that reflect our commitment to growth. As Billy Graham often preached, faith is a journey, not a destination. By embracing consistency, grace, and perseverance, we not only shape our mornings, but cultivate a life that is centered in faith, purpose, and unwavering trust in God. Transforming a personal journey into a shared adventure makes the pursuit of a meaningful morning routine and ultimately a purposeful life less daunting and more fulfilling. Having an accountability partner turns self-discipline into a collaborative effort, ensuring that even on the hardest mornings, you have someone to remind you of your commitments and encourage you when progress feels slow. They celebrate your victories, no matter how small, and help you stay aligned with your goals. This relationship is built on mutual support, rooted in the understanding that self-improvement is a collective journey rather than a solitary struggle. Billy Graham often emphasized the importance of surrounding oneself with a strong, faith-driven community, people who uplift, inspire, and challenge one another to grow spiritually and personally. He understood that faith is not meant to be lived in isolation, but nurtured through fellowship, accountability, and shared wisdom. In today's world, finding an accountability partner aligns with this timeless principle. It acknowledges that while discipline and purpose are deeply personal pursuits, they are strengthened through the encouragement of others. Having such a partner can provide insights into blind spots, offering perspectives that catalyze growth in unexpected ways. More than just a reminder to wake up on time or follow through with morning prayers, this connection fosters meaningful conversations about what works, what doesn't, and how to adjust to stay on track. When seeking an accountability partner, look for someone who shares your values and commitment to self-betterment. Someone you trust to be honest and supportive. This could be a friend, family member, or mentor. Establish clear expectations, schedule regular check-ins, and make the effort to uplift each other through advice, encouragement, and when necessary, gentle correction. True accountability isn't about external motivation alone, but about forming a bond that cultivates spiritual and personal growth. It creates a space of honesty and trust, where both partners thrive in a shared commitment to living a disciplined, purpose-driven life. Billy Graham often spoke about the brevity of life and the urgency of living with purpose. Reflecting on the fleeting nature of time is not meant to instill fear, but rather to inspire action. Every morning is a gift, an opportunity to engage with life intentionally, to serve others, and to strengthen our relationship with God. Graham's messages were filled with reminders to focus on what truly matters, to prioritize faith, relationships, and acts of kindness over trivial distraction. When we start our mornings with this perspective, we shift our focus from mere routine to purposeful living. This awareness can profoundly influence how we spend our time, the relationships we invest in, and the legacy we strive to build. Rather than allowing ourselves to be consumed by temporary frustrations or superficial pursuits, we anchor ourselves in what is eternal. Remembering the brevity of life also fosters resilience. When we recognize that each day is a gift, we become less troubled by daily inconveniences and more focused on long-term spiritual growth. It helps us maintain perspective, reducing the power that setbacks or disappointments hold over us. Gratitude flourishes in this mindset, allowing us to approach each day with a renewed sense of appreciation for the blessings we often take for granted. This principle is not about dwelling on the end of life, but about embracing the present fully, choosing to live with intention, love with depth, and serve with sincerity. To incorporate this mindset into your daily routine, start each morning with a moment of reflection. Consider the opportunities ahead and ask yourself, if this were my last day, would I be proud of how I am choosing to live it? This is not about anxiety, but about making conscious choices that align with faith, values, and purpose. Billy Graham often spoke of preparation, not just for the future, but for the challenges of each day. Many believe in focusing solely on positive visualization, expecting success and happiness to manifest through optimism. However, a more profound perspective involves preparing for difficulties with faith and resilience. Negative visualization is not about pessimism, but about readiness, a tool that equips us to handle life's challenges with strength and wisdom. Graham's teachings frequently echoed this idea, urging people to trust in God while also preparing their hearts and minds for inevitable struggles. This practice involves periodically considering potential difficulties and how we might respond with grace and faith. It could be as minor as dealing with unexpected delays or as significant as facing loss or hardship. The goal is not to dwell on suffering, but to develop the mental and spiritual fortitude needed to endure trials with unwavering trust in God. By contemplating life's uncertainties, we grow in resilience and gratitude. In allowing hardships to shake our faith, we can use them to strengthen it. Starting the day with this mindset transforms our approach to life's unpredictability. We step into each moment prepared, not fearful. We handle setbacks with composure, knowing that we have already visualized and prayed through these scenarios. This practice doesn't diminish joy, but enhances it. By recognizing the fragility of life, we cherish it more deeply. To integrate this principle into your morning routine, take a moment to reflect on potential challenges and how you would respond with faith and wisdom. Visualize the strength you would need, the lessons you could learn, and how you would rely on God for guidance. This mindset does not invite negativity, but empowers you to meet life's uncertainties with courage and trust. Billy Graham's teachings consistently reinforce the importance of spiritual preparedness, of equipping the heart and mind through faith, prayer, and reflection. In embracing this principle, we cultivate resilience, deepen our gratitude, and approach each day with the strength to live fully and faithfully. Let each morning serve as a reminder that life is a precious gift, one to be lived with purpose, intention, and an unwavering commitment to God's plan. Then, let go of the visualization and move forward with your day, carrying a sense of preparedness and a heightened appreciation for your current circumstances. Incorporating gratitude into our lives, especially as we end our day, can have a transformative impact on our well-being and perspective. Keeping a gratitude journal is a beautifully simple yet profoundly effective way to cultivate this sense of appreciation. Taking a few moments before bed to reflect on the day and jot down a few things we're grateful for, whether it be a kind gesture from a stranger, a breathtaking sunset, the completion of a challenging task, or simply the comfort of our bed, helps shift our focus from what is lacking to the abundance that already exists. This practice aligns perfectly with Billy Graham's teachings, which emphasize focusing on what we have rather than what we don't, on what is within our control rather than what isn't. This shift in perspective not only sets the stage for a peaceful night's sleep, free from the turmoil of unfulfilled desires or lingering frustrations, but it also primes our minds to begin the next day with a sense of purpose and gratitude. But why end the day with gratitude? Because it allows us to close our day on a note of positivity, regardless of the challenges we may have faced. It is a way of reaffirming the good in our lives, finding peace, even in turmoil, and fostering a mindset that sees opportunities for growth and joy in every circumstance. This nightly practice of gratitude creates a ripple effect, influencing not just how we sleep, but how we wake up and approach our mornings. It transforms our first thoughts of the day from dreading the alarm clock to quietly anticipating what the new day holds and what new things we might discover to be grateful for. Moreover, this practice of appreciating life extends beyond our personal sphere. It enhances our relationships as we become more attuned to the value of those around us and more expressive of our appreciation for their presence in our lives. It deepens our connection to the world as we become more observant of and thankful for the beauty and wonder that surround us, often in the most mundane moments. As we consider the multitude of strategies to enrich our mornings and by extension our lives, let us not overlook the power of ending our day with gratitude. It is a practice that embodies the pursuit of a meaningful life, one marked not by external achievements or material possessions, but by inner peace, contentment, and a deep-seated appreciation for the present moment. As we conclude this journey through the 10 strategies inspired by Billy Graham's wisdom, it becomes clear that each step, each practice, is more than just a task. It is a pathway to cultivating a life of intention, resilience, and profound gratitude. Embracing these practices does not mean that every day will be perfect, but it does mean that each day will be met with a stronger, more grateful, and more resilient version of yourself. You have within you the power to transform not just your mornings, but your entire life into a reflection of the ideals of virtue, wisdom, and contentment. Remember, this is just the beginning. There is a vast world of wisdom waiting to be explored, ready to guide you on your path to living a more meaningful and fulfilled life. If you found this journey enlightening and are eager to dive deeper into these teachings, I encourage you to explore our playlist right here on the screen. It is packed with insights, stories, and practical tips to help you embrace the full richness of this wisdom. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content. Please leave your comments and share your experiences. Let's embark on this journey of growth, resilience, and fulfillment together. Here's to mornings filled with purpose, days lived with intention, and a life brimming with gratitude. Thank you for being part of this community. See you soon.